Let's see who else we've got holding. Let's try our caller from the 845 area code. Who's calling today from 845?
I think that's me. How you doing, David?
It is.
David Cadillac.
David Cadillac. I like it.
All right. Yes. I had a question for you. Speaking of taking higher ground, I got a bit of an anger problem most of my life, and I got it under control. But nowadays, with all these ignorant people, walking around without wearing their masks and, the regular moronic things we see as normal people, I feel myself coming back to the person I used to be and trying to avoid it because I'm so angry at these idiots. I don't know what to do about it. And speaking of taking the higher ground, I really appreciated your interview with that Jesse Lee Peterson guy. It made my day. It was so entertaining that I just wanted to call in and say thanks for livening everything up a little bit. I needed it.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, I don't know if I hear like a New York or maybe a Philly accent there. Where are you located that you're dealing with these morons so often?
The town I'm in is actually Chester, New York.
Okay.
I worked in Manhattan all my life, so I'm only a half hour away. And
Okay.
we've seen the devastation here.
So when you're saying you're getting mad at people, are you getting in verbal confrontations? Is it escalating to physical?
Oh, it hasn't gotten physical yet, but they are. I used to be the person who would agitate the fight. Nowadays, it seems like you ask someone nicely, and they want to agitate a fight. So, I've done the right thing. I learned my life lessons. I walk away, but at the same time, I don't know how people deal with these. I just don't know. It's not easy to ignore anymore.
But is it sort of like you ask someone to put a mask on and they lose their mind, or what's going on?
Lose their minds, like literally like crazy people. I compare them to children, really, because they lose, toddler fits is what it seems like. But they lose their minds. Police, too. I got in a confrontation with a cop last week because he was in the store getting his coffee next to me. I said, hey, buddy, think you might want to put a mask on? We're in a gas station. And he lost his mind. I had to leave because I thought he would just leave and arrest me or something else.
Really? So what town was that police officers aren't wearing masks indoors? I thought the entire state of New York had a pretty clear mandate on that.
I know. Well, we say it all the time. But there's a line that you can report people here in New York, and, it doesn't do a lot of good, but at least it's a step.
Listen, here's what I would say, because I hear the frustration and I would understand it. The way I might try to resist the escalations would be, you know what? This is such a bigger problem than this one guy or gal that even if I go completely crazy and change their mind, it's not actually, I can't possibly do that with everybody. And so it's a sad realization, but I would take a more resigned view that really the change in people's attitudes needs to be systemic and that you can't shout everybody into submission. And I would approach it that way to try to not get too, hot behind the ears, so to speak.
Yeah. That's absolutely dead on. We just have to keep trying as calmly as we all can to hopefully change some minds.
Exactly.
Because
and hopefully before we know it, there will be a
so
vaccine.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right, my friend.
All right,
thank
thanks
you.
for
I
doing
appreciate
your
the
thing,
phone
David.
call.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, great to hear from you. Dave Cadillac from Chester, New York there. Okay, let's go next to our caller from the 720 area code. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Is that me?
Yeah, it is.
I'm Aaron. I'm calling from Utah, actually.
Interesting.
I just had a question regarding the election coming up. You talked at length about how you don't think really the election interference is going to be too bad, and how he'll just leave, and no matter if he loses, he isn't the president.
Well, hold on a second. Can we pause? Can we pause just for a second there? Hold on. I want to make sure we're not misstated. So I've not said I don't think the election interference will be significant. What I've said is experts who have looked at what Trump is planning believe that each of his little tactics will only have a modest impact, and it could flip the election to him. But if we get the turnout up, the turnout will do far more than any of Trump's tactics can do. That so it's not that it's not going to be significant. It's that we know how to fight it, which is by overwhelming the vote. And yes, I have said I believe if Trump loses, he will go eventually. It may be under protest, but he will go.
Right. I was more asking, like, do you think anything like the 2000s Florida recount type stuff could happen again?
Yes.
And that sways it, sort of, even though we turn out, it doesn't work.
Absolutely. And this is why I've said when we now, thinking back now, when we look at Trump's Supreme Court picks, his judgeships, the fact that he's now starting to file lawsuits against vote by mail, we need to run the score up. We need this to be like an overwhelming win for Joe Biden, because the closer it is within states or the closer it is from the popular vote standpoint, it could provide cover for judges to do very, very bad things. And if the results are very lopsided, it just makes it more difficult for a court, as an example, to hand any state, any vote, anything to Donald Trump. And that's why I think it's so important that we have the biggest possible margin in November. We can't just win by a little bit. We actually need to destroy Trump.
I agree. I just wanted to see what your opinion is. Thanks for taking the call.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you for the call. Let's take a quick break. If you are holding, please don't hang up, because after what is going to feel like just an incredibly short break, I'm going to go right back to the phone.